Hello everyone and welcome to Rob's Gaming Table. Today on the table I'm going to talk about my pre-release weekend experience for the new Star Wars Unlimited card game published by Fantasy Flight Games. I'll also show you the cards I pulled for my pre-release packs and the decks that I built. Stay tuned until the end for a little Rob rant about a couple things that I disliked about the weekend. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, the first place I visited was in London, Ontario at a store called The Game Chamber. They had a pre-release event at 6 p.m. on Friday. At least that's what I was told by some local players. So I clicked through a link that was shared to me, bought a ticket, 2 tickets actually, one for myself, one for Mel, my wife, and we went out to London, Ontario to play at this pre-release. When we showed up, I learned the store is awesome. The staff are super friendly because I clicked through the link, bought a ticket for the wrong day. They actually had 2 pre-releases. I had no idea, so I blindly just bought tickets for the wrong event. But they were super kind and switched us to the Friday night. Showed us around their store. This is very beautiful, as you can see. They have a nice giant play space, a little snack bar, and it's all decorated like a Star Wars cantina, which is very fitting. And yeah, the only problem was the staff didn't really know too much about the rules for running the event. It was also the first day they ever used the new tournament software published by Fantasy Flight Games. And they wanted to follow everything to a T as recommended by Fantasy Flight Games. So we were playing best of 3 rounds. We had 9 or 10 players, I believe. Some were a little late, so they cut into the deck building time. And they actually, because the best of 3s were set for 55 minutes, they decided to cut the time short on the deck building to only 35 minutes to crack packs, read the rules, build decks. Wasn't really a fan of that. It was fine for me. I kind of knew what I was doing, but you could tell some other people are struggling. And yeah, that 55 minutes, best of 3 for people learning the game was a little rough. Everyone was kind of going to time. We had to stop, look up rules for the tournament to figure out how to deal with end of time rules. I'll talk more about that later. The event ended up taking about 4 hours, which was unexpected from everyone, kind of. But the store, I guess they realized it was going to be that way since you're supposed to give like 50 minutes for deck building and 55 for each round, best of 3. Wasn't the coolest experience trying to, rush your games with brand new cards you've never seen before. But a cool thing was they told us that Fantasy Flight Games actually, or Asmodee, Canada, I guess, shipped them a free booster box to give out as prize support for the events that they were running. So they divided one half of the box for day 1 and one half of the box for their second event. So that was actually pretty cool. And I decided to play Vader Green, and I don't know if I had the best cards for that. I just really wanted to play Vader in person. That's what I dabbled around with most before the event when I was playing around online. So I just put it together as long as it could have enough cards. I was going to build it. Mel, I believe, also played Vader Green, which is funny. We actually had to play each other in the event. I beat a Leia deck, a Luke deck, and a Vader, but I lost to a Grand Moff Tarkin. But it was so fun, very fun. It just went a little long. The cool part was they gave actually the booster packs for prizes. They gave to the top 4 finishers. I came in second. Mel actually came in third. So we walked away with a pretty good chunk of booster packs, which was nice. My best memory of the event actually was not a card pull or a play. Was actually my first round opponent was a young gentleman named Oliver, who didn't really know the game that well, but watching his eyes light up and as things clicked, as I was teaching him the game and as we were playing and showing him the flow of things and how cards work, it was very fun to watch him kind of like get a little more confident, have some fun playing the game. But he didn't really know the aspect rules for deck building, so it was really fun between rounds to help him kind of rebuild his deck using colors that weren't going to overcost him, and watching him have fun with that deck as he played through the event was really cool. And for those curious, here is the deck that I played, the Darth Vader green. Here's the cards that I threw in it. Feel free to pause it if you want to look at it. And also feel free to leave comments telling me how I suck at building decks and how crappy this deck was. But like I said, I went 3-1, came in second with it. So I don't know, could have been part of that. I kind of knew a little bit how some of the cards worked and how the game kind of flowed before going. But I definitely had some very close games. It was very fun experience. But yeah, there's my deck for that I played at the Game Chamber in London, Ontario. The second pre-release I went to was at 401 Games at their Vaughan location on the Saturday evening. I decided to not do a afternoon pre-release. I wasn't sure if it would overlap with this one, and I've never done pre-releases before until this weekend, so I didn't know what the etiquette was about dropping, and I didn't want to mess up any tournaments or whatever, or have to rush between stores and be late for the next event. Looking back, I should have done it. That's what everyone was telling me I should have done, but I didn't. So this was the only event I had on Saturday. Stay tuned for the two I did on Sunday. I'll tell you more about that in a bit. This one was hosted at 401 Games location where they basically prepare all their online orders. They're one of Canada's most popular online retailers for tabletop gaming. So the play space has kind of shrunk over the years as the back warehouse has kind of expanded into the store. So it was a little tight, a little squishy. We had another tournament going on. There was 32 players in our tournament. I think only one didn't show, so maybe it was like 31, or maybe they filled the spot, I don't know. They gave us 50 minutes to build a deck, and I built my deck pretty quick since I had experience the night before. I played Vader green. I did that, just because I wanted to play Vader, and we'll talk about my deck in a bit. But after I was done building my deck, I talked to the tournament organizer and asked what the format was. They were only planning 2 hours before the store closed to fit this whole event in, including the 1-hour deck building. And the tournament organizer said, I'm just doing best of 3 because I heard games are only 10 to 15 minutes. And I said, well, that's not true. When players are first learning the game, opening packs, reading rules, asking the judge for stuff. When you're playing in person, even if you practiced a little bit online beforehand, playing in person is much different to remember triggers and all that kind of stuff, and read cards and see some cards you maybe never played with. So I explained that to him and had him look up the tournament rules and showed him. He didn't realize that it was going to be 55-minute rounds when they scheduled the event. So they decided to do best of 1. And actually, instead of giving the 25-minute recommended, they gave 30, which was nice to give everyone a little extra time to kind of play a little slow, read their cards, make sure everyone's being friendly and stuff. No one's pressuring anyone, which is good. So that was nice. They were raffling off prizes in addition to the 1 pack per win, which was nice. They didn't charge any extra for the prizing. And they threw in the judge promos they raffled off, deck boxes, sleeves, which was really cool. I actually beat a Luke, a Vader, lost to a Boba Fett, so it was cool to play against some different leaders in this one than the previous evening. I don't think my deck was as good as this one than I built previously, but I was still having fun. But yeah, it was definitely good to see players that I hadn't seen since the before times before COVID, and it felt like a lot more players here knew what they were doing, and I had some previous play, I guess, online, or maybe in the previous evenings. There was other pre-releases in the area the night before, so there's a lot more players that felt like that at this day that were much more comfortable with the game. And here's the deck I played at 401 Games in Vaughan. Again, Vader green, but because the sealed pool gave me different cards, I felt like the day before I was missing some kind of bomb cards at, the 5, 6, 7, 8 cost. This time I actually was presented with plenty, I felt, for the colors I wanted to play. I was just missing, I felt, the open fires that I basically drove me to choose the deck I did the night before. So getting an ATST, Gladiator, Star Destroyer, 97th Legion felt really good in this one. I still don't feel like this deck was as good as that one or performed as good, but might have been the environment, might have been the experience of the players and stuff too, and my experiences playing. But yeah, definitely was fun there. Definitely a nice place to play. Our third pre-release we went to was Sunday afternoon at 12 at Harry Tarantula in Toronto, Ontario. I hadn't been there in quite a few years. I've only been there once in the past. They definitely improved the store since they first moved to this location when I visited them. Very clean. They sell everything. They have a nice little cafe inside, large play space considering the size of the store. Very friendly people, very efficient at running tournaments, which was very nice. They were selling Star Wars Gamegenic deck boxes and sleeves. They had quite a bit of a selection, which the other stores weren't selling any of that stuff yet. The previous 2 pre-releases I went to. And another thing they were doing that's very kind was giving 10% off to pre-release players that day if they wanted to buy official Gamegenic deck boxes, sleeves, and whatnot for the game. They also were doing prizing was a pack per win, plus they gave out an extra pack for participation, and then they raffled off a couple of the super nice deck boxes, like not the soft boxes, but the actual Gamegenic deck boxes, and some posters and things Star Wars Unlimited related. They also sold leftover pre-release kits after at a regular price, actually cheaper than MSRP, then threw in extra 2 packs per pre-release kit purchased when we were done, which is super kind. Super cool that they were doing that. So people were buying more than one and cracking packs after the tournament, which is so cool. And I brought extra packs home that I still haven't opened. I'll talk more about that in a bit. It was supposed to be 14 players. One player didn't show. Another player just grabbed their pre-release kit and ran away. They tried to do best of 3 for first round, even though I recommended, based on my experience, they probably shouldn't, but they wanted to try it. We had plenty of time. But after that, after that first round, and how many people went to time, didn't even finish their second game. Some I don't think finished their first. But yeah, it went long. So right after that, they asked, is everyone cool if we switch it to best of 1 for the last 2 rounds? And we were all like, yes, please. So that worked out good. That was nice that they were willing to switch that up during the tournament. I ran Jyn Erso Green. I'll talk more about the deck in a minute. But the first round, I was paired against Matt, a.k.a. Flake, from the Ice Cave Radio podcast. I also I recognized Matt when I sat down and I heard his voice because I watched him. He's like a professional commentator for Flesh and Blood, which is a card game I didn't really get too serious into, but I used to love watching tournaments for it when I was playing it casually, and he was one of the commentators on there. So it was nice to meet him in person, a fellow content creator. We had some pretty tight games, which was cool. He did beat me, which was okay. It was okay. He has a podcast about the game. I'm a noob. It's all good. But yeah, he's super friendly, very passionate about the game, which is great to see. I ended up going 1 and 2 because I was playing cards I never really played before, playing Heroism. I've only really played with Villain before going to any of these. So I did lose to his Sabine deck, seeing cards again that I wasn't really familiar with playing. And then I did beat a Sabine the next round since I kind of knew what was going on. So I was a little more experienced. And then I lost to Vader, which was a sign that I should have just played Vader, even though it probably couldn't have built a great deck. I should have just kept with what I knew. So here's the Jyn Erso Green deck I played. I was debating between Leia and Jyn. I wasn't sure if I had enough Rebels. And the only real reason I went Hero was because I opened Han Solo. And I knew he looked cool. It's a cool card, iconic character. He's only rare. I thought he was legendary, but he's only rare. And that drove the deck building. And I had a lot of Heroism cards. But again, never played Heroism before. I thought I played Vader a couple times. Let's change it up. But all these cards, like a lot of these cards I have not read or had experience playing with, quite a few different cards here than I was seeing the previous pre-releases playing against Luke decks, mainly out of Heroism. And then also playing against a couple Sabine decks this tournament, seeing a few different cards too from Heroism Red, I believe, that I hadn't really seen before. So that was kind of an awakening. I've heard Sabine was good, so I thought I would see more of it, but it wasn't till day 3 where I actually got slapped around a little bit by it. But that was still cool. Thanks, Matt, for that experience. But yeah, here's the deck. Maybe not the best deck. I don't care. I just want to play Han. The colors worked, and it was fun. I wish I had a few more kind of evil events, but Strike True and Waylay felt almost as evil as I needed to be in the deck, so I still felt kind of villainous playing it, so that was great. But yeah, there's my deck from Harry Tarantula in Toronto. So after playing in Toronto, I'd heard that there was a board game cafe that I've never been to in Hamilton, Ontario, that was doing a pre-release. And again, I wasn't sure if I could make it there on time, but since our previous tournament finished in a reasonable time, We called and they still had spots left. Mel didn't join me for this one, so I just went solo. She decided to go home. But I went to Hamilton, Ontario to Mon Calamari, I believe it's called, for their pre-release on Sunday night at 5 p.m. I was still itching to play more Star Wars Unlimited at this point. Yeah, I know it's crazy. So I went there. They only had 7 players. They had, I believe, a no-show. I think they had room for 12, but they only sold, I think, 8. But they announced it last minute, like on the Friday. They were kind of slow to things. But I heard about it on Saturday that they were doing it. So I debated it, left it open, and I decided to go. I'm glad I did. I saw a couple people that I had seen playing Keyforge back in the day. So that was good to see them again in person. But this board game cafe, so many board games. As you can see, piled around the store. The store smelt amazing, like cooking bacon and fresh baking and coffee all mixed together the whole time. Oh man, it smelt delicious. I didn't eat anything there. I want to in the future, but I didn't. That day I'd already eaten. So, but yeah, man, it made me want to just I was drooling like the whole time I was playing. So yeah, how dare they? But yeah, staff are super friendly. Didn't really know about the event too much about the rules, but were willing to ask if anyone had played in a pre-release and took our feedback. So they decided to do the best of one. They gave us 30 minutes each, which was super nice. They even added a couple minutes extra time when anyone went to time with their game, which was cool. Super friendly. Everyone was friendly, having a good time. Super casual. Yeah, it was great. Lots of players that didn't play before, some that played online before. So various levels of experience. But most of them, it was their first pre-release. Mine, it was my 4th, obviously, so I was trying to teach and help and stuff, so it was good to play again with some newer players and help spread the love of the game. And I played Vader Green. I went back because I'll show you. Actually, I'll show you when I show the deck. But yeah, I went 2-1. I had an amazing few games that went super close. I beat a Luke. I beat an IG-88, but I lost to Luke, which was very fitting for the final match of the weekend. The prizing was 1 pack per win. And they were already selling playmats, which I hadn't seen other stores doing, but they weren't selling any other products, I don't think, until the release, which was weird. Like, there was no consistency with the Game-genic stock or selling of products or rules around that. It was weird. Every location, every store I played at was completely different. But yeah, definitely a great store. So here's the deck list I played at Mon Calamari in Hamilton, Ontario. The cards that drove me for this one were those 2 juicy, overwhelming barrages. I hadn't seen them all weekend. I had them played against me, but I never got to actually have them in my pool at any pre-release. So it was so cool to go to this one last minute and open up 2 copies. I instantly took a picture, sent it to Mel at home, said, finally, and she knew I was excited. Like, I really wanted to see. I was kind of upset I didn't see them because I really wanted to play Vader. I felt like that card works good with Vader, one of my favorite villainous cards I played with when I was dabbling around online before going. So yeah, and Seventh Sister, Rook, so good. So good. So I had some decent cards, not a lot of great 6, 7, 8 cost cards really. So I was like, kind of, as the games went late, I was struggling. But that's, I think, why the games are so close, because I didn't really have a way to close it too much other than Overwhelming Barrage. And if I didn't see it or have one come up at the right time, it was trouble. It was trouble. But not the best Vader deck, definitely. But those cards, I just wanted to play those cards, so that's why I went with it. But yeah, I appreciate the games and definitely had some fun there for sure. So out of all 42 packs we opened, plus a couple cards that we won, here are, I guess, my favorite cards or the exciting cards that we pulled from the weekend so far. There's the 4 legendary cards across the top. We got Change of Heart, Boba Fett, Mace Windu, and Foil Cunning. In the bottom right there, I also put Gideon Haas that Mel opened. It's a hyper foil rare, but just the art and the colors and the shooting from the gun being in foil, you can't really tell from this picture here, but it was awesome. And then winning the 2 judge promos was kind of cool. Mel got one, I got the other, which was cool to have those unique cards that are kind of rare, I think. But yeah, definitely fun. We also have, I think, 20 or so packs that we won between all the events that I have not opened yet. So I'm hoping still I could get a showcase, because it's very upsetting seeing 2 showcases opened right beside me at 2 different events. Literally the player that got handed the box right before me or right after me opened one right beside me. Every event had one showcase, exactly one showcase get opened, at least that we knew of, which was exciting. It built some hype, and everyone was like cheering and, you know, passing around, looking at it and stuff. So here's a couple of them here. But yeah, these are the exciting cards that I saw. But again, stay tuned. I'm going to do a separate video or live stream or something opening those 20 reward packs that we got from this weekend. So hopefully I can still maybe find a showcase, maybe at least find like a Vader or Luke legendary would make me feel awesome. So stay tuned for that. Looking forward to opening those packs. Okay, for those of you stuck around to this point, now it's time for the end of video Rob rant. It's about a couple things. Basically, trying to keep this casual, these pre-releases as FFG intended, kind of was harmed a little bit by trying to do best of 3 with a brand new game, brand new cards, brand new rules, lots of new players, and trying to do that in 55 minutes. Crazy. People trying to get games done in 20, 25, 30 minutes was still rough. Okay. I saw it at all the events. Any of the events that tried best of 3, it was kind of a nightmare. At all 4 different locations, all 4 different player bases, different players all around. It's kind of the same experience everywhere. Definitely best of 1, 30-ish minutes. Great for the first pre-release. Maybe those pre-release rules were made for future pre-releases when people know what they're doing. But the idea as a pre-release is people are seeing those cards for the first time is the idea. So why impose kind of like competitive formats and time limits on them? Silly. Super silly. Was dumb. Kind of hurt some people's experiences. Not a fan. Another thing that hurt their experiences, I actually saw players get upset about this, was the tiebreaker rules. So in a best of 3, in any of those 3 games, if you go to time, or even in a best of 1, you go to time, if there's no clear winner, as in nobody won a previous game, you both get losses. Okay. When the time is called, you have to finish your next action phase, not the current one you're in, which was super confusing, the next one. So you complete a whole next action phase. And the only reason to do that is to see if somebody can actually close out that game. It's not to see if you can get more damage on the base. There is no comparing damage on the base or cards in play or cards in deck or anything like that. Literally, that doesn't matter. You need to finish that current game or that game didn't matter. They just check to see, did you win more games of the best of 3 than your opponent? And if you didn't, if you each went 1-1 and your time ran out in that 3rd game, you both just get a round loss. That is not great for casual play. I don't even know if that's great for competitive play, but that's not a great feeling for people literally playing your game for the first time and their first experience playing against other players. Not cool. Not cool at all. Hopefully they figure out a way to do that. Most people thought it was, you know, just based on who had the most damage on base is kind of like the winner idea, something like that. But that's not the case. Go read the tournament rules. You'll see what I mean, especially for best of 3. And again, that 55 minutes, not enough. Even the 25 for 1 game in a pre-release, not enough. They need to fix that to be, at least for the casual side of things for pre-releases. Going forward, as people learn the game and stuff, that's fine. But if you want your game to grow, you need to make sure it's always ready to bring in new players and bring those new players in with soft hands, you know? So yeah, don't always assume your players are going to improve over time. You need to always be ready for those new players to come in at any point in the life of a game. So they need to fix that entry point and make those rules and time limits and stuff more casual, more friendly. No one wants to be told that both of you are a pair of losers when you're playing a game for an hour, you know. Sorry, you both lost. That was all a big waste of your time. Sorry. Yeah, not good. Not a tie, nothing like that. Yeah, it's rough. So another thing that I think a missed opportunity is the pre-release idea. So I like the pre-release to build up some hype before something comes out. I feel it's built up from Magic. I don't play Magic. I don't know. I know other games do pre-releases. But I saw this like upsetting some people, and it felt like a big missed opportunity, is not having this kind of stuff happen as a release weekend event. Have these kits ready on the release weekend. And then at the end of the event, have people be able to buy booster boxes, the starter decks, sleeves, tokens, mats, everything. Okay. There were players, families, kids, adults, grandparents, all ready to spend money. And all they could do was really walk away with their pre-release kit and their couple packs they won. That's a missed opportunity. A lot happens in a week. There's a lot of games out there, a lot of hobbies pulling people's attention, and you have them there, and their hype and experience after finishing their tournament was very high usually, and everyone was really excited, and everyone wanted to buy more cards and open more packs. Some of the stores would sell pre-release kits left over, which kind of satisfied that. Some of the stores had mats and booster deck boxes, which was cool, and some sleeves, but it was very inconsistent, very weird. And some stores said they couldn't sell anything until release weekend, which is the next weekend. So I know the idea is you get people to come in your store more by doing that, like they have to come in a couple visits. But I feel like a huge missed opportunity. I think it should all be centered around a release weekend, kind of like video games and movies and stuff do. They really hype it up. Boom, here's your one date you need to know. And they come, they get excited, they spend all their money. You know, they missed out on, you got to capitalize on that. It's kind of like letting someone drive a car that they fall in love with and then telling them, sorry, we don't have any for sale. You can't buy that car, actually. Thanks for coming and trying the car out, you know. Or you know, you're in the mall, you're going by the food court, and here, sample this food, and you taste it, and it's amazing, you want to buy more, and they're like, no, actually, we don't have any. Sorry, we're actually not selling anything today. We're just letting you try it. Very weird. I know they're just copying what they think works, but I feel like it's a missed opportunity to just make more money, get players buying cards, you know, show that there's more interest in the game, get people excited, get the stores excited because players are spending money, which means the store wants to support the game more. So I feel like there's a chance that players might not come back and spend some of that money because they might forget. You know, the hype was there that minute. You got to capitalize on that exciting feeling when you finish playing a game for the first time, you know? So yeah, that's my rant. That's it for me. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments below how your pre-release weekend went, if you went to any. I know there's still some coming up this week and this weekend before the release of the game. Even after the release of the game, there are still some stores scheduling their pre-releases who didn't get product on time or didn't have time to book one. So yeah, check out the event finder on StarWarsUnlimited.com if you're looking for events. If you're a store, make sure you put your information in there for your events, your weekly play, your tournaments, and all that stuff, so people can find you. Because I noticed there's a mismatch there where some stores are holding pre-releases and they had lower attendance because they didn't put it in the online system so players could find them. So hopefully that gets fixed. Anyways, I'm Rob from Rob's Gaming Table. Thank you for watching and hope to see you in the next video or stream. Bye-bye.